We're at the Los Angeles Asian Pacific Film Festival. I'm with Corey Tong, and your film is Forever Chinatown. Tell me about your movie, your documentary.
Forever Chinatown was directed by James Chan and produced by James and myself. We have been working on this film for about 4 years, and we launched it a year ago at various film festivals, and we're about to come into our broadcast window on PBS and World Channel. It's going out all over the U.S. And Forever Chinatown is a documentary about an 82-year-old artist named Frank Wong, who grew up and is based in San Francisco. Mm-hmm. And he grew up in San Francisco Chinatown in the 30s and 40s. So the film is a multi-level portrait of the artist, who is Frank, the artwork that he has created. He has created 7 miniature models of his memories of growing up in San Francisco Chinatown. And the third part of it is how the film captures the actual community in which Frank and his models are based. So it's really about the artist, his artwork, and the place that they are capturing.
And what kind of message is he trying to tell? I know Chinatown, San Francisco today is very different than what it was when the 30s and 40s.
Absolutely, he is really capturing his own personal memories of what his world used to be like, and through the film, we hope audiences will really be able to get a sense of who this man is, but also on some level, he shares a little bit of his personal life and his story of where he came from and his life as he lived through in different parts of California as well as Hawaii. But what the film really captures is his own storytelling and how he describes his life. But at a certain point, Frank doesn't seem to want to share any more of his personal life. Mm-hmm. And what happens is, over the course of shooting the film, we discovered that so much of what he is not saying about his life is actually portrayed in the artwork itself. So the real artwork, the artwork is it really captures, it embodies his life. And as he tells us and the audience that his model artwork is half wishing and half memory. Mm-hmm. And as we started listening to him talk about his artwork, we realized that so much of what he views as his life, his legacy, is really embodied in these 7 pieces of amazing artwork that are so realistic on one hand, but at the same time they are idyllic portraits and romanticized portraits of what he was wishing his life could have been. So it's a very layered and a very complex person, and the artwork is also very, very layered because on one hand, you'll look at the artwork and you'll think, wow, these are extraordinary rooms, and they're exactly the way that, the detail in it is amazing. There are newspaper headlines. There are items in his grandmother's kitchen that have the names of all the canned goods. There's Spam. There's Best Foods mayonnaise. Right next to the old pressed duck and lapchong that they used to have. But also they're making mooncakes, so there's a bowl of flour and eggs that are about to be made into mooncakes. So the level of detail is very, very extraordinary. And these are world-class artistic models, pieces of artwork. And they had not really been discovered before. And James found them in the lower level of the Chinese Historical Society Museum in San Francisco. And then he thought they were amazing. He went and had lunch with the artist, and then he called me and said, "Oh my God, these things are amazing. They tell this story of a Chinatown that a lot of people may not know about, and at the same time they reveal so much about the artist." Mm-hmm. And so that is what we pursued, and we created this documentary about these 3 pieces: the artist, his artwork, and the the city and the neighborhood that they capture.
So was it difficult to put this together? So you're coming in basically after the fact, after the artwork is created, and you're interviewing the artists. Were there some challenges you faced, or was it pretty straightforward?
Well, of course, the challenges we faced were, the artwork, they're existing.
Right.
But as I think almost in any film production, whether it's fiction or nonfiction, documentary work, there are always challenges. Mm-hmm. So a few of the major ones are, one, that the artist himself was in the beginning very warm and able to share a lot of his life, but at a certain point he stopped sharing.
You were opening a few too many doors, I guess.
Exactly. And what happened was, as he started holding back, as I mentioned earlier, we realized that a lot of what he wasn't saying might be hidden or discovered in the artwork itself. Mm-hmm. So that pursuit was something that we wanted to try and capture by.
So do you try to?
So we shot and we filmed the miniatures in incredible detail. Mm-hmm. We went with lenses that were inside the artwork itself, and in many cases where you're looking at the rooms in the film, I don't think one can always tell if it's real, if it's a real room that one is walking through, or if this is an actual theatrical set, or if this is a model. Mm-hmm. And so the level of detail is so specific and so exquisite that I think if one didn't know the scale, they wouldn't know whether they were literally inside a Chinese family's Lunar New Year banquet, or if they were inside an herb shop, because even the herb shop has jars full of real herbs. And so throughout the film, there's this blurred line between what is reality and what is fantasy or memory or filtered romantic memory. Mm-hmm.
This sounds incredibly fascinating. I wish. When is it screening?
The film screens on Sunday, April 30 at the Los Angeles Asian Pacific Film Festival, and we'll be screening it at 11:30 in the morning with a program of short films. Mm-hmm. And then audiences will have a chance to see the film on PBS in May and June. Mm-hmm. We'll be screening through the World Channel nationally throughout the United States in May. And then we will continue to do regional PBS broadcasts throughout the summer, starting in June. And so there will be opportunities for people to see the film. Mm-hmm. We also hope to take the film and the actual artwork on a tour around the world. So we're developing that right now. Okay. And we hope to bring it to many cities in North America as well as around the world. And so far we have Hong Kong, Singapore, Vancouver, very interested in this. There's a museum in France that is a museum of cinema and miniature artwork, ironically enough, or coincidentally enough. And so we are really pursuing taking the artwork and the film out there to the world.
Is it on display now, though?
It is. The artwork is on display at the Chinese Historical Society Museum in San Francisco, in Chinatown. And it is absolutely worth seeing. Yeah. But if audiences are not fortunate enough to make a visit to San Francisco, you will be able to see the film on public television, and then hopefully we'll be bringing the artwork to some of the cities around the world.
Okay, well, thank you very much. This is very fascinating.
Thank you for having me on your show.
Thank you, Corey.